Hey everyone, welcome to TRS. We are live. So I do want to promote your show some more. I want to talk about it because that's ostensibly why I found you and why I asked you here is to talk about that show. What are some of your for us? I have a couple moments where I knew I was doing something good that was quality, even if a ton of people aren't involved watching yet or following it. What were some of your moments where like, God damn it, I nailed it. I'm doing a great job.
I think after I did the episode with Colin, and right after it was done, Colin, right after it, I hadn't even put it out on the air. Right after we had finished recording, Colin goes, "Yeah, this is something." And I was like, "Oh, thanks, Colin." And then the same thing with Will Sasso. I mean, I've known him for years, but he was like happy to do it, happy to promote, happy to be on it. And then he had so much fun doing it. I've had other people on, like one of my friends is one of the co-hosts of the Canadian version of the Great British Baking Show. She's one of the co-hosts of the Great Canadian Baking Show. And she immediately on air, like while we were recording, she was like, "I'm coming back. I'm doing this again. I want to win this game." Like, people get really competitive about this minuscule amount of cash.
The money,
and
money's money.
And it's funny to me. A long time ago, I pitched an improv elimination television show. You know, start with 4 improvisers, do a game, and the judge throws somebody out, and then we do a game for 3, and then a game for 2, and then we have a winner. But my whole thing was on Whose Line. They said everything's made up and the points don't matter. Well, this has stakes. So every time somebody would get thrown out of the show, they'd cough up $20 out of their own pocket. And then at the very end of the show, the last remaining improviser got all the money in the pot, 60 whole dollars. And people were like, "I have to do this show. I want to win this money." But, you know, 100%. Television people are like, "You're improvisers. You'll say anything. It's scary." So nobody bid on it. But anyway, that's always been in the back of my head. Like, you make a mountain out of a molehill. You say it's this massive amount of money, but really on the line is, if I blank you, I'm getting $5. If you blank me, you're getting $5. It's more it's more the like, I don't want to lose, and neither do you. And then when you find out you said 2 words and I beat you 2-0, or it's 1-1 and nobody gets any money, you're like, "Damn it, you almost said this."
So close. So I should have just kept circling around that topic, but no. We don't have 5 words. You do have 5 words. So before we end the show, we got to find out how we did.
Yes, I have been trying to get you to say some of these words. I think some have been said already. I won't say how many, but I've got my little list of 5 words going.
Fair enough. I'm curious how we're doing.
Was there a word that you had with a guest you couldn't believe you couldn't get them to say? Was there an easy one that you just couldn't get no matter what you did?
You know what? I had a friend of mine on who I have a toddler, and so does he. And so we both have daughters, and we kept talking about our kids so much. And my daughter was on my list, and he never said it. And I was just like,
wow.
He just kept saying my kid, the kid, our kids, this. And I'm like, say daughter. What's wrong with you? But then I've also had, like, when I'm in my soundproof booth and getting my words, I'm always like, I say the same thing every time. I'm going to guess I might get 2, maybe 3. But I had this list of words, and I had one guy on the show, and when I got to 4, I had 4 words on him. And then just all of a sudden, my brain kicked into high gear. It's like, oh, fuck, I got to get that 5th word. I have to do what I can to make him say that. And then the word was volcano. And can you get a guy just organically to say volcano? It just lead him into it, and I did manage to do it. So that was the one guy I got $5 out of.
That's pretty great.
Yeah. You went the Tom Hanks route.
Yes, I did. Because I knew he was a movie nerd, so I said, if I have a TV, if I'm a wrestling nerd and I buy all the T-shirts, the first T-shirt of a lot of wrestlers I have. So, like, when you make it enough that you finally get a T-shirt, I said, I wondered if he was like that. Like I said, do you have some of Tom Hanks's first movies? And he was like, Volunteers with John Candy? And I said, well, the one with Meg Ryan, and not Sleepless. There's something on an island. He was like, oh, Joe versus a volcano. And I was like, yeah, that's it.
Slick.
Josh, you had a comment?
Well, it was going to be about the same thing, close, but to adjust it a bit there, when you're searching for that, you're going, Tom Hanks's first movies, the guest must know that you're looking to get them to say one of those words.
Well, they know I'm trying, but I try to lead them towards saying the word. I never say the word and hope to repeat it. We're all trained so I've had so many actors on, and we're all kind of trained in interviews to sort of repeat the question that's been asked. So I never want to say like, how about that movie Panic Room, like out of nowhere, just like I try to lead them down a path where they're going to organically bring it up.
Right.
Well, but so with Nathaniel's kind of example there, I was thinking kind of the same thing. Like, do you ever go just, what was that movie? Joe versus the...
No, I'd let them. I'll get to that point. I'm like, it's not that Volunteers. It's the other one with Meg Ryan. I can't remember. Like, okay. I'll fake not remember things. Or I have a friend who had a theater troupe called the National Theater of the World, and which I think is a great name anyway. But one of my words was national. So I was just like, what about that troupe you were in with these two people? He's like, well, yeah, we were called the National Theater of the World. Like, it just naturally, I let him bring it up, which, that makes them feel good to promote their own stuff. But I would never say those words.
I would love to see somebody who's really, really bad at the game. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, that's my the one where I blanked the guy 5-0. He got 0 and I got all 5 words, and he was so upset.
Oh man. So he's never coming
back. That.
Yeah.
But do you have a guest? Do you have a guest though that sees that you're trying to get them to say that word and they will avoid it on purpose?
They lock up.
They will see the trap set and they will see, and walk out of it?
No, but I see them doing that to me.
Okay.
I do have a friend. This is only going to work on video, and my podcast only audio right now. But I do have a friend who did the show with me, and he wanted me to say vaudeville was the word he was trying to get me to say. And because we do the interview on Zoom, but we record just the audio for it. And so during the show, he's like, does this. He's like, yeah, we have a lot of fun doing the kind of entertainment we do. But wasn't it better in the old days? And he just leans right in, like really, really hammering it home. And I'm just like, I'm not going to say what you want me to say.
That's awesome.
I had just recently.
So you want to play poker?
If I say, if his word was white, he'd go, I'd say black, and you would say, and I go, I'm not saying that.
So he's playing catchphrase with you.
Trying, yes.
Yeah.
But I mean, there's ways to get people to say stuff too.
Oh, totally. Yeah. Whenever you are doing this, have you ever turned the conversation into an area that you were completely unprepared for? Like you brought it up to get a word, and then all of a sudden talking about, well, in 1978 this happened, and you're like, whoa, I learned something completely new.
No, not really. Most of the people I've interviewed, I've known, so I know a lot of their life, and if I have a word that I can lead them to say some stuff, it'll happen. But I've never had like any. There's not going to be any scoops. I'm not going to get any scoops. There's not going to be like, I can't believe you said that. It's going to like it never, ever, ever. It's mostly casual. I just have people on. I think most of the people I know, most of the funny people I know, should be known. I think most of my friends should be more known than they are. So this is my way of like, have them on the show, interview them. More people can learn who they are. Go see the thing they do. Yeah. I just had my friend Shannon LaHaye on. She's a young improviser. She's one of my favorite people to watch on stage, and she regularly does a live Dungeons and Dragons improvised show in town, and I think that show should sell out every week. So why not have her on and promote what she's doing?
It's a good combo.
Yeah.
I love, we did a show with 3 young people just getting into entertainment, musician, poet / self-help author, and another musician / artist. And I just loved, because I loved the work that they were doing. They're very different in different ways. And I just I know I don't have a huge platform, but anything. And also like to get people practice with interviews and come more comfortable doing this sort of thing. And I also love the fact that maybe in a year or two, I could go back and see where they are. And just, I love the idea of following this career from literally 2 of them just graduated high school.
I think the same thing about I think the same thing about the local wrestling scene. I think if there's an independent wrestling company in your town, you should go and see it, because it's a joke to use the Star Search. You say the Star Search line of, you'll see tomorrow's stars today. You will see somebody wrestling on that show. Like there are guys wrestling for WWE, AEW, TNA right now that I've seen in a church gymtorium in Barrie, Ontario. Like I'm thrilled for them that they no longer have to bang around the indies. But they're signed to doing stuff, and it could be like, I saw them in front of 40 people just eat a ring post. Like it was the best.
Most recently, it was Orange Cassidy. Is that his name? It was just like randomly.
Orange is
So I
great.
was like, "What are you doing on TV?" Nice.
Oh
That's
yeah,
awesome.
there's a AEW has Daniel Garcia, who's a Buffalo
Yeah.
guy. He wrestled up here for years and years and years before he made it to AEW. He's phenomenal, and I'm so thrilled for him. I'm so happy for him.
I can't imagine the amount of work and just not even just the physical work on yourself or your skill, but like day in and day out making those contacts and keeping your head in the business.
It's a lot like podcasting if you don't have we don't have help. So it's like I'm my own business, I'm my own promotion,
Yeah.
I'm my own editor, I make the phone calls, I book the guests, I make the travel arrangements. If I can't do it via Zoom, or if I know we can get together and have a coffee, let's go get a coffee. I'll bring my little microphone with me and we'll record there. But it's all me doing it. If I was an indie wrestler, I'm calling around. I'm showing up to a show I'm not booked on to help set up chairs and put the ring up so that the guy knows I want to be there. And maybe I'll get booked on the next show. And I just keep doing that until I start getting booked. And then other people hear I'm getting booked. And then I start getting booked other places. You just slowly expand your circle.
Build.
Yeah.
That's what we're doing with this show too. We're slowly building a circle of trust. We're putting out something. We're getting better at what we do, I hope. And it's that one thing like, hey, I talked to this person and they had a good time. I can talk to this person and have a good time. I think it helps build confidence in yourself that you're able to show up and be a positive influence in whatever part of the entertainment world you are in.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that's why I asked earlier, like when you hit those moments, like, wow, I'm actually doing something worthwhile here. I'm not, because I can't. I don't know about you. Your friends are in the entertainment field for the most part, I'm guessing. But do you have any friends that aren't? They're like, what are you doing a podcast for? Everybody does one. You're not gonna like.
A little bit. I have my. I'm 100% sure my parents still don't know what these are. But I have a friend who business friend, they're in an office, and I'm sure they do real well at whatever it is they do. But they sit in front of a computer all day and have meetings, and I don't know what that is. So I don't think they're weird for not knowing what I do. I've known you for 20 years. You've changed jobs 3 times in those 20 years, and I still think you do the same thing. So it's no, I don't think anything about it. But if they would ever listen to it, it's something they could listen to on their commute, cool. But I never think anybody's listening to anything. I mean, I haven't seen all the download numbers for my show ever.
I can't look.
But I've occasionally I've been in the back end of something when I'm uploading it to the network, and I see some numbers and I go, oh, so okay, great, people are listening. I want the number to be a jillion times higher than it is, of course. I was just at a family function, and one of my uncles couldn't make it, and the next day we did a FaceTime call, and my uncle was there, and he came in on the thing and went, hey, I like your podcast. And I was like, oh, my uncle is listening to it. That's good. That's one.
Yeah. Yeah, I have occasional friends that pop in and they're like, my friend Scott, he's probably watches at least every other show, and it always blows me away because he has better things to do. But here he is watching this show, and a couple other friends jump here and there, and their friends. I'm still waiting for that moment when somebody goes, "Aren't you that guy?" I'm like, it'll never happen, but
it happens with me. But it'll be Mustard Man before it'll be a podcast.
Mustard Man. Do people recognize? Because if I saw you on the street, there is no chance in hell I would think you were Mustard Man.
Oh, good. When in my younger days, yeah, for sure, but hasn't happened for a while.
Well, good for you. We're gonna wrap up here in a little bit because we're getting close to the full hour.
Sure.
I did want to do you like mustard?
I do.
Okay, I thought it would be the ultimate just zinger if and I hate mustard.
Oh, it's the dirt worst. No, that's fine. I like it just fine. I like a hot dog with nothing else on it but mustard. So that's my guy. That's my jam.
Jam or mustard? No,
yeah, both. Why not?
It's a cheap joke. What are you looking forward to doing in the future, either with your show or with entertainment? What are some of the things you have coming on the horizon? Anything you want to promote as well?
I would like to. Well, I'll just keep promoting all my friends' stuff because that's the best way to do anything.
Sure. Yeah. Okay.
Check out. What I look forward to doing is there's been the podcast format has been going for a long time. A bunch of white dudes talking. There's a way to make the format grow. There's a way to make it bigger. There's a way to change the format and change what podcasts are. And I always think about the old time radio days. Every possible genre of anything that's on TV was done on the radio back in the 40s and 50s. So for me, I'm doing an interview and a game show, and there's some comedy. But I think about game shows on TV right now are the biggest, most neon, convoluted nonsense with celebrity hosts. And for fuck's sake, the hosts were never celebrities ever in game show history. And if your game sucks so bad that the game itself won't get people to tune in and you need to get a celebrity to host it, maybe your game show is shitty. So I think game shows should come back with regular people and good hosts. There's just a dearth of hosts now. There's just nobody good at hosting anymore. And it's not hard if you apply yourself to it. But just because you're a recognizable face, you should not be hosting a game show. So I think maybe I have some game show ideas in my back pocket. I have some other ideas in my back pocket. And I'm hoping that if the podcast takes off as I could sit down at a desk and interview people and say, play the same game, and turn that into a show for some streaming network that's desperate for content, I can pitch them other things and grow other things. Really, the idea is, could I get a network interested in me and what I do so that I can finally pitch all the shows that I have in my back pocket that will just keep my friends working forever?
That is beautiful. I love it.
Trying.
I love it. And I think you're right. One of the things that I recognized early on was what you said about the radio. I am interested in writing a sci-fi radio play drama along the lines of nowhere near, but it's more sci-fi with a little bit of comedy, way snarkier than Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. And I just think we could do that online now, and we could the tools and the people out there who would be interested are easier to gather and get this done. And it's something I'm still going for, and I've actually shown these two some of the what was the Josh? Do you remember the comedy podcast I wrote that for?
I'm trying to remember. They did a couple of things, and Bonnie Gordon was involved with them at one time. As well on the video side. You give me a second, I can.
I threw it at you without warming you up. I apologize, but yeah, I wrote. They would air 5-minute segments of edits. So if you had something 5 minutes long, they would put it on their show. So I wrote like 5-minute episodes.
It was Channel something, and the idea was that every week they had a series of 5-minute radio plays, and the listening audience would vote on the top 3. And the top 3 would be then brought back to the next week to do the next episode. And the top 3, so then they would play 5 again the next week, and the top 3 voted would go on. If it was the same 3, you get a 3rd episode. If not, they don't go. It was a great concept, and I think they still do it. Yeah.
Well, okay, so here's the kicker. Since I've already said that once tonight, here's the kicker on this. When I first started doing podcasts a jillion years ago, myself and 2 other guys from Second City, we have this podcast. It's still out there. You can still find it. It's called Illusionoid, and the concept of the show was, it's in the far off future, the evil supercomputer Illusionoid has destroyed humanity, and there's only one remaining human. And this human is broadcasting the stories of how Illusionoid came to be backwards through time for you to listen to, so you can stop these things from happening. Okay. But every episode was just us improvising a Twilight Zone. Everything's going to go shitty. And then we would add sound effects and music and make it sound like an old time radio show. It was editing intense. It took hours to put one together. But we had the most fun doing it. And then when we would do it live, we had a musician with sound effects at the ready. And we did it for years. There's like 10 or 11 seasons of it online. It's insane the amount of content we put out. And some of the episodes are almost an hour long. We try to keep them about a half hour, but some of them are super long.
I'm going to ask you to send me that link after we're done here. I would love to hear something like that. I grew up listening to AM radio, and my parents, I'm the youngest of 5. My parents were older. I had some of their cassette tapes of Fibber McGee and Molly and like just old time radio. And I loved it as a kid. And I loved the fact that I was building these worlds in my head. I have no idea what they look like to this day, but what I had in my head was oddly enough, it was black and white. When I was listening to it, like the world I was listening to was black and white because
I do love any show, any old terrible sci-fi movie that shows you what the far-off future of 1982 would look like. Like, I love anything like that.
I have a massive book collection of sci-fi that's around the 40s, 50s, whenever they started calling it sci-fi-ish, where they're predicting the future. And I love it when they get it right. One guy in one book, and it was sometime, they got the date completely wrong, it was like 2015. He described ships fighting in space, launching miniature suns at each other. This was before the first nuclear bomb was detonated. So he's describing it and didn't know it. They'd also had these devices that they'd pick out of their pocket. They'd pick a Rolodex and click someone's name and see a video and talk to them. Like they described a phone in 1953, I think that book was. Like, I love that stuff. When they get it right, it's great. But when they're totally wrong, it's even better. I love that stuff. But there's something genuine and fun about it. And I know it was probably written by older people who just hated their lives and typed and smoked all day. But there was something about it that just echoed with me. I don't know what it was. Or is. I still listen. So, hey, we're going to get out of here. We've reached the 1 hour mark, and I don't want to keep you much longer. So thank you for everybody who tuned in.
I want you to know you said money, question, and spoil, but you didn't say boom or expansion. So I got $3 out of you.
You're getting $3 from me. You're getting $3. Well, you send me how to get it to you. I'll do it, or I'll donate it, whatever you want. I loved having you on. I love your show. You have a new regular listener. I've kept the URL up on the screen for a while here. That's how you reach Nug's podcast. Please just listen to one. Just listen to one, and you will see what I'm talking about. It works. It's a great show. Spread the word. And thank you for everybody for listening. Nug, you have any parting words for anybody?
Well, thanks so much. Happy to do it. Thanks for having me on. I hope everybody listens to the show. What can I put? Go watch AEW on the crack of dawn on YouTube for AEW Wrestling, RJ City's little show. And if you don't want to watch RJ City on that, every Sunday morning he makes coffee in his underwear. You can go watch him do that too.
Nice.
I'm going to do that.
You should. It's very fun.
Right. Josh, let's play us out.